Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Rodney Hash. Today we're going to have something a little bit different. It's not a review. Well, maybe it's a review of history. So that's exactly what it is. We're going to be going over the history of cannabis in America. Because as it stands, obviously cannabis is, in still a lot of ways, it's a criminal activity. And I just want everyone to know, why, even before that, how did America look at cannabis before it became illegal? So let's get right into it. I hope you guys enjoy.
Where that bitch, where that bitch, where that? I'm a motivated stoner. I'm a motivated man on a mission. All I had was vision.
Alright, so to kick this off, we're going to start all the way back in 1619. This is actually when the first law on cannabis, or hemp, was first passed. And that was actually in the first colony, which was the Jamestown Colony in Virginia. This may come as a surprise to most of you because, it's a felony to grow weed. It actually was requiring all farmers to grow cannabis, hemp, weed, whatever you want to call it. It was mandating it. And then to take that another step further, those same laws were then passed in 1631 in Massachusetts, and then 1632 it came to the Connecticut, and then it followed again all the way up into the mid-1700s with it happening in the Chesapeake colonies. Then, to make that even more crazy, hemp was actually the legal tender all the way from 1631 all the way up until the 1800s. And the purpose of that was so that way farmers would actually grow it. It was trying to encourage them to grow it. It wanted more people to grow it. There was so much hemp and weed that needed made that it actually caused several shortages, which then caused them to make it illegal to not grow weed. So you could actually go to jail if you were growing things that was not weed. It's literally the opposite of what's going on today, where if you want to have a home grow in most states, that's a felony. And even if it's not a state offense, it's a federal offense. Unless the MORE Act gets passed in the House and the Senate, and that's something you should all care about, regardless of party guidelines. That is very important. This is going to expunge a lot of people's records. So, to get back to history, they were asking them to grow it because if they had shortages, because again, they were using this as medicine, and we'll go into that a little bit more. They were using this for legal tender. They were using this for clothes. Everything that hemp could be used for that you've been told, like rope. It's literally the strongest natural fiber that there is, naturally occurring. Now, yes, there are some synthetic ones that we have now that could be stronger and even be better if it was infused with hemp. But hemp is still probably one of the most reliable sources of material out there. And it's naturally occurring. We could be using it for paper, and it takes 3 months to grow a full thing, or 9 weeks, something like that, depending on the type of cannabis you're growing. And you can make hemp out of that, then to paper, versus trees that take hundreds and hundreds of years to fully grow and develop. That's why it became illegal. But some of you may know that. If not, maybe if you leave this a like, maybe we'll have more of these videos where we go into that type of thing. So trying to stick chronologically, we're trying to think all the way back in the colonies, and some of you may know and some of you may not know. But George Washington, the first president ever in America, he grew weed. There was even stories of him talking about, within his journals, talking about the best days of his life were spent walking over his female cannabis or female hemp plants, something along those lines. Don't quote me on the exact quote. I'm butchering this, but he was growing female plants, and we know what you grow the female plants for. It's not just for hemp, not just for rope. Joke. But yeah, that was the best days of his life, sitting over his Miranda, watching his weed, smoking his weed. first president. But also, Jefferson grew it. Jefferson even took a very serious risk because he got a hold of some Chinese seeds that it's not exactly legal to have done that, because China had the best quality seed and they knew that. So exporting those seeds was actually a capital offense. So I don't know the specifics of it. Something happened where he went to France and he sent a Secret Service over to Turkey or something along those lines to get these seeds. But he took the risk and he wanted them because he cared that much about his weed. Jefferson. Gotta love it. Gotta love that weed. So, continuing on, moving forward a little bit more. We'll sit back and chronologically. Ben Franklin was actually one of the first people to start making a hemp paper mill. This allowed the U.S. to be able to, or it wasn't quite the U.S. then. This was the colonies. These were some bad people. They were overthrowing the government, but it was a tyrannical government, and we are here today because of them. So thank you. But he did that paper mill just to be able to, to kind of have like a press, and trying to get paper from England to make a press, to make a newspaper about overthrowing England. Yeah. Well, what do you need this paper for, sir? Definitely not a newspaper. What's the newspaper about? Yeah, so this gave them the freedom to be able to do that. All right, so moving forward in time, come to 1850, there was a United States Census, which this is, the colonies are done, we're America, and we're big, we're bad. New kid on the block. We're not growing weed anymore, right? That's for the colonies. Oh, no, that's not the truth. That census showed that there was 8,327 hemp plantations. And when I say a plantation, I'm not talking the little small grows, because this was not counting those. There was hundreds of thousands of those that weren't. We're not talking about. We're talking about 2,000 plus acre lots growing just cannabis. That was America. So, again, and this wasn't just for no purpose. They weren't just growing weed just to grow weed. They were using it. They were using it as textiles. They were using it as clothes, rope. We all know that. But with another thing they don't talk about is hash and hemp products were actually not only just the first, they were the second and the third most used and most prescribed medicines from 1842 all the way into the 1890s before it eventually fell off and we got other medicines. And yes, we can still use this to advance our current medicine in ways that we don't even fully understand. It was, again, the first, second, and third most prescribed medicine within the United States between 1842 all the way until the 1890s. It's almost 50 years of being the first, second, and third most prescribed medicine. And they wouldn't use it if it wasn't working. And on top of that, you would think that, oh, well, if it's that most used medicine, there's got to be all kinds of schizophrenia about. No. There is little to no mental abuse or mental disorders. Not that they really fully understood mental disorders, but coming from cannabis, it didn't happen. They did note, however, in a lot of ways that new users had like a lot of internalizations and they'd freak out, but that's just THC overdosing. They didn't fully understand it back then. It probably wasn't as high a potency in certain ways. We don't know. We weren't there. History's been kind of swept under the rug. That's why I'm doing this for you guys. And again, if you like this, please leave a subscribe. Please leave a like. And please share this with a friend. It really helps. And if I get 50 likes and I get my subscribers to 100, I'll do another one of these videos. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of mental disorders involved because of this, even though it was the first, second, and third most prescribed medicine for almost 50 years. Alright guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed the content. That's all I have for you for history today in America. Peace out.